Good morning everyone, and I hope everyone is doing really very well. We have reached 28th December and in 3 days we'll be entering 2025 and we'll say bye bye to 2024. On 31st December we'll also do a special session in this time only where we will be talking about recap of the most important events which has happened. What we would be covering obviously you'll get to know on that day. So 31st December 2024 is a very important daily decode session where we would be recapping some important events which will give you what has happened in the year, and we'll also talk about what can be expected in the coming year 2025. So 31st December 2024 would be a very special edition of Daily Decodes. Please and definitely tune in and definitely watch that session live or recorded, whichever way you want to be. It would be better that if you join the live session because you can definitely ask questions. So we have reached the weekend again, 28th December. We are in Saturday. Tomorrow is the KPSC examination also. So all the best for all the aspirants who are giving this Karnataka Public Service examination. I hope that you do very well in your examination. Apart from that, people who are not giving that examination and all the audience all over the country, Saturday and Sundays, I always say that if you're an UPSC aspirant, Saturday and Sunday are for revision, for MCQs and PYQs and for your mock test. So please keep giving these test series, relax a bit and keep continuing with your journey. Okay, so let's move towards the first of all, OGP 2026 batch is starting on 2nd January 2025. For all details, you can call on the number 8069405205. And this course will include GS, CSAT and SA. For all the courses, be it related to prelims, mains, test series, anything related to your UPSC's preparation, you can call on this number for all the courses which are going at Insights IAS. And you can also scan this QR code for all the details. Now moving towards the thought for the day is, strength is keeping together when everyone expects you to fall apart. You know, this quote is exactly true of how Indian batting happened today. Most of the commentators, including the Indian commentators, it was looking like that they want India to fail, okay, and they had given up hope on, you know, all the batsmen. But then came Nitish Kumar Reddy with his Pushpa 2 style, and you know, he took India out of the follow-on. And you know, people were even criticizing Nitish, you know, we should drop him, he's just making 30-40 runs. But see, those 30-40 runs, eventually those got converted into 80 when the opportunity came. So most important thing is that many times in your preparation and many times people around you would be waiting for you to fail. And many times you will definitely fail. There is no doubt about failure will happen. But the important part is that you pick up the reins and you pull up your socks and keep fighting. And today, you know, so, you know, before this innings, everyone was talking little less about Nitish Kumar Reddy. Okay, he's making 40s. But this innings of today, you know, this is how champions and legends are made. And obviously, he has a long way to go. His idol is Virat Kohli for that matter. And if your idol is Virat Kohli, I'm sure that you will do some great in your life. In this context, I would also give you the example how Rishabh Pant started. You know, how his life has been. He had an accident, a lot of failures, and eventually he came out of it. So keep fighting for your goals, keep fighting for your dreams, keep fighting for your UPSC preparation, and the magic and success will definitely happen. It might take some time, but the magic does happen. Who does not give up? So with this positive thought and giving, you know, all the best to the Indian cricket team which is fighting a test match at Melbourne. It's a Boxing Day test match, and we'll also talk about today why it is called a Boxing Day test match, why it is called Boxing Day. That is also one of the important things we will cover. So with this positive thought and positive innings which we are seeing currently with India, and I hope it continues also. So let's come to the news. Positivity is good, but nothing positive is happening with Pakistan as usual. So 15,000 Taliban fighters march. Why is Taliban biting back Pakistan? So it is very simple. What you sow is what you reap. So it's a very famous quote by Hillary Clinton. She had said, you know, when she was heading the State Department, she said that if you're keeping snakes in your backyard and you are thinking that it will only bite your neighbors, then you need to realize eventually they will bite you also. So this, you know, this thing is coming back to Pakistan, that these 15,000 fighters, Taliban, the entire help which came, you know, how Taliban got weapons, how they got training, they got also special commandos. This was all given by Pakistan. But today, Pakistan is being attacked by the same Taliban, which they helped to regenerate, generate, give them vigor, force. So we'll talk about this news, and there's a very important term which we call about strategic effect. We'll also talk about strategic effect which Pakistan keeps talking about, that this they need to have against India. What is that particular thing? We'll also talk about that. Then Brahmaputra Dam will not affect India, Bangladesh, China. This is the claim of China. It would be the biggest dam in the world. Okay, so what can be the effect on the lower riparian states? We'll talk about it. 22% rise in enrollment after the smart classroom initiative. A very important thing, as we are moving towards digitization, and smart classroom initiative is increasing the enrollment rate. This news you also need to seek in the context of that 5th and 8th class rule, which we had covered in Decodes, I think around 2-3 days back. Then in editorial, the Syrian meltdown and its strategic impact. This I have taken from Chanakya Forum, in which Lieutenant General Hasnain Sir has given a wonderful what is happening in Syria. So we, apart from Hindu, we're also taking news from the other important newspapers and magazines to give you a comprehensive. For that matter, 15,000 Taliban fighters has not been covered by Hindu. This we have taken from Indian Express and the India Today, so that you also get to know what, sometimes the main newspaper might not be covering everything. So we are taking from there. In prelims decode, we'll also talks about why it is called Boxing Day test match. Even for one point of time, even I wanted to know why it's called Boxing Day. Some boxing match happens, but it's a very different thing. We'll talk about it. It's related to boxes. So this is the important news for today. 15,000 Taliban fighters march to take on Pakistan. Why is Taliban biting back? So again, I told you, what you sow is what you reap. If you are sowing, these terrorists and these insurgent fighters, and you are expecting that only India and other countries would be harmed by it, then you are wrong. In the recent days, the number of attacks by Taliban and Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan on Pakistani army is like butchered, like carrots. It's being butchered like carrots and vegetables. That how tomatoes are being cut, that is how. Or tomatoes or onions are being cut, that is how this Taliban is butchering the Pakistani militant. Every day, every here and there and now, in Quetta an attack happens, and one important thing is happening. Because of these attacks, the investment in CPEC has been stopped. Because China is rethinking its investment, it has already invested around $25 billion to $30 billion in CPEC. The overall investment in CPEC should be $60 to $65 billion. But the problem which Chinese are facing, first of all, this $20 to $25 billion, which has gone in the Gwadar port of, which would be connected to CPEC, none of this money has come back, no profits are coming, and then this Tehreek-e-Taliban and Balochistan army are killing Chinese like anything. Now Chinese have straight away called them that to the Pakistan, that either you give us the security or we will not continue this project. First case. Now Pakistan has replied back, okay, we will give you security and everything, but we are also ready to give you Gwadar port, like Hambantota being given to Sri Lanka. So they are saying that we can give you strategically this port for your military needs, but we want something from China. So they said to China, we'll give you the Gwadar port, but we also want the second strike capability. If you remember, some days back I had discussed with you what is a second strike capability. Second strike capability is that, for example, India launches a nuclear attack on Pakistan, and Pakistan's entire nuclear assets, they have been dismantled, but they have nuclear submarines with nuclear missiles, and they will launch an attack on India and dismantle the India's area, or most important command centers, etc. So this second time which they are attacking, this is called second strike capability. For second strike capability, is very important to have nuclear submarines, and Pakistan does not have nuclear submarines and neither the second strike capability. So they wanted to do a barter with China, that we'll give you the Gwadar port, but you give us the second strike capability. China said, China basically said, no, we are not interested. Every now and then you come up with a new demand, and Pakistan is like having a bowl in which it is just seeking money. Or I've told you multiple times, it's a country with multiple credit cards. When one credit card falls, then they go to the next bank, and the bank here is country IMF. They are also asking for the 25th bailout from IMF. Remember yesterday when we are doing the late Manmohan Singh news, we did one bailout in IMF that happened around 1990s, okay, and Pakistan has been continuously doing this. Shows the problem with this country economically. Now economically this country is almost destroyed. Let's come to this particular thing. So this was said by Hillary Clinton about Pakistan in 2011. At that time she was US Secretary of State, and she said this Taliban will reverberate, and this Taliban will eat, this will bite Pakistan. It's actually happening today. Okay, so she said it's like that old story. You can't keep snakes in your backyard and expect them to bite your neighbors. Eventually, those snakes are going to turn on whoever is in the backyard, and this is exactly what is happening with Pakistan. So approximately 15,000 Taliban fighters are reportedly marching toward Pakistan border, escalating tensions. And this basically started because Pakistan, some areas of Afghanistan, they had taken this air raids were done by the Pakistani fighters, mostly F-16 and other fighters. So they were destroying dismantling the military complexes or the military areas of Tehreek-e-Taliban. So this Tehreek-e-Taliban, this is a militant group as per Pakistan, and it is a militant group. It was attacking Pakistanis and killed many Pakistani soldiers, 18, 15, 20. These numbers keeps coming. So to retaliate on this, Pakistanis used their fighter jets, destroyed these military complexes. But the problem is that around 45 children and the women were killed in this attack, and because of this, a retaliation is happening from the Tehreek-e-Taliban. Now there is one more problem, one more angle to this. So in Pakistan, there is two Taliban. In Afghanistan, there is two Taliban. One is Afghan Taliban. Afghan Taliban is one which took power, when the Americans left, and they have all the power, that government and everything. And then there is a second group which is called Tehreek-e-Taliban, which does this terrorist attack. Now, Pakistan wanted that Afghan Taliban, when the Taliban came and they were taking over power, they were very happy, that this Taliban would be helping us. None of that happened. Now, Pakistan wants the help of this Afghan Taliban to dismantle Tehreek-e-Taliban. But none of this is happening because Afghan Taliban and Tehreek-e-Taliban are very good friends. Okay, so Afghan Taliban, they will go, the Pakistani generals will go and meet Afghan Taliban and say, please help, and Afghan Taliban will say, okay, we'll do something. Nothing of this sort happens because Afghan Taliban and Tehreek-e-Taliban, their basic ideology is same, they will not change. And both of them, so Afghan Taliban might be the front face and Tehreek-e-Taliban will be the backyard face, which is killing and butchering these Pakistani soldiers. And since these soldiers are being butchered, they had to give a revert action to show it to their public, and that is why these Air Force raids happen. And now this 15,000 Taliban troops are walking from Tehreek-e-Taliban. Okay, so Pakistan decades-long policy of nurturing Taliban has backfired, creating a dual Taliban problem with severe security implication. Dual Taliban is Afghan Taliban, that's the government, and the second is Tehreek-e-Taliban. Okay, so Pakistan played a pivotal role in the rise of Taliban. See, what they were doing, they were providing military aid, training aid, intelligence aid, and everything. Okay, military and intelligence through ISI recognized Taliban regime in 1996 as the legitimate government of Afghanistan. So they were the first one to recognize. And this government they recognized, and they were, Taliban, if you remember that Kandahar hijack, it was Taliban which did, and then they were asking for this Maulana Masood Azhar, Jaish-e-Mohammed head. And we had to give him that. If you remember, it was that time, I think Atal Bihari Vajpayee sir's government was there. And that time Taliban and Pakistan were making good relationship. And today you can see where this relationship is heading. So if you are using a militant group to target India, you would also become a target. And to Pakistan and Pakistanis, I would say that the peace to Pakistan, the route to peace to Pakistan and the route to peace to Afghanistan goes through India and goes through Kashmir. If they want peace in their regions, they have to establish peace with us, and they have to dismantle these terror groups. Otherwise, these two countries, the karma will bite you. And this is again karma biting you. So if you don't change your methods, the karma will keep biting you. Period. Full stop. Now, this is the one which I wanted to talk about, strategic effect and strategic depth. This is what Pakistan keeps talking. And this is the reason they invested in the militant groups. Let's move to a map, what I mean by strategic depth. So Pakistan, so this is a Pakistan, okay. So if you see, they always feel that they are a narrow country. And obviously through map, you can see they are a narrow country. And they believe that, tomorrow or in future, India can attack. And it would be very easy to dismantle Pakistan. Or we can attack from here or cut the Pakistan in two halves. So what Pakistan wanted, it wanted more regions. So that is why they invested in Afghanistan. They started investing in Afghanistan in the Tehreek-e-Taliban groups, that if this Tehreek-e-Taliban group is with us, this way we have increased our area here. Okay. Second is, then they started investing in the area of Punjab for Khalistan. And then Jammu and Kashmir, they have taken some land and they started investing in terrorism here. So they thought one area has increased from this particular part and one area would be increased. So overall, the area, the strategic effect I'm talking about, or strategic depth. So first, the region of Pakistan would be this. If they are able to conquer that particular part of Afghanistan and Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir, the area would increase. So if Indian army enters here, it will have to travel a lot of land to occupy Pakistan. You can see Russia, Russia has been in more than 2 years now. It would be in February 2025, it would be 3 years the Russia-Ukraine war has started. So it becomes larger the area, more effort would be taken for an army to conquer that area. So this is what strategic depth is. Pakistan keep talking about it. And in Afghanistan, they wanted this area, and these are the other area they wanted. That's a very separate thing. It did not happen. But this is what the reason behind putting money in these militant groups. Because of these militant groups and proxies, they can control Afghanistan, they can control India's Punjab, or they thought they can control India, Punjab through Bhindranwala and others, and they can control Jammu and Kashmir. So this would have increased the strategic depth of Pakistan from this to this. This is a very important concept in international relations and geopolitics. If you study India and Pakistan, you will definitely get to know about it. Okay. So this is the aim to counter India's influence in the region and protect power in Afghanistan. Taliban was also used to train Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba, and see what is happening now. You keep training. And also one more important thing I want to talk about is there is one more angle which is coming today. Okay. So if you see Pakistan, this is your CPEC goes somewhere from here, okay, and here end. This must be your Gwadar. Now everybody knows 25 to 30 billion dollars has been invested, and there is one major problem which is coming. The major problem is that Pakistanis are not able to provide security. Now second angle, I don't know how many of you are aware, but China has started talks with Taliban. They have started talks with Taliban, and they're also thinking about an alternative route. So if you see, China can create a route from here, from this region. So this is a Afghanistan border. So they can create a route from Afghanistan, and it can end here from Iran. And which is this port? Approximately, this would be a Chabar. So they can use Iran, Afghanistan, and Chabar. This is an alternative route. Obviously, for doing this, they will need India's help. Railways are being connected, and this might also push India and China relationship in a very good context in the future and more towards positivity terms. This can also be a way, but obviously I'm saying this is not happening, but there are talks, because this continues, this particular path in Pakistan, multiple terror attacks have happened. In Afghanistan, it's very easy. You give the money to these military landlords or these terrorist landlords, or these terrorist warlords, I should say. Everything is sorted because they are dependent on money. They'll create their economy, and their goods can move from here to there. So this is one thing. So they might try to use Chabar. And also, please remember that Iran and China, they have a deal around of $400 billion of investment. They were talking about, if you remember, more than $400 billion. So if China actually invests and the relationship between India and China improves, this is also one important angle which we need to understand. This is how geopolitics evolve. This is how international relations evolve. There is no end game in international relations. They are not permanent friends. They are not permanent enemies. There's only one thing: permanent interest, period, full stop. And that is how international relations work. So these map is one of the most important and wonderful things. It helps you in geography prelims. It helps you to understand international geopolitics also. So moving further from this, so Pakistan military launched air strikes, killing 46 people. Pakistan claimed strikes targeted TTP hideouts. I think we have we have completed this dual Taliban challenge. We have also spoken about increase in terror attacks. So this is what is happening in Pakistan. A 56% rise in terror fatalities was reported in 2023 compared to 2022, with over 1,500 deaths, including 500 security personnel. This is what Pakistan is suffering from the hands of a terror group which was created by the Pakistani army, which was created by the Pakistani ISI, which was created by Pakistani state. So if we come to the end of this conclusion, what we understand is that you can't keep snakes in your backyard and expect them only to bite your neighbors. Hillary Clinton quote is, is a complete circle for Pakistan. It's a complete circle. It gives the final blow to the Pakistan that if you keep doing this, nothing improvement can happen. So a volatile Afghani regime that refuses to act against TTP, an emboldened TTP, that is Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, not good for Pakistan. Okay, so this, please use this word. Okay, this is a very important word. The Frankenstein effect. If you've seen that Frankenstein monster, it is created and eventually it starts killing those people. So this is the Frankenstein effect. You created this monster and you thought that you will use this monster against India and destabilize this region. Today it is this Frankenstein monster is killing the Pakistanis, and it's a very sorry state of affair. I hope Pakistan learns. And apart from that, one more international news, that there's a pressure from America and Trump also in Pakistan to release Imran Khan. Because Imran Khan, if he comes out, he might be able to balance it out. The Pashtun angle is there, the Afghani angle of Imran Khan is there. So he might be able to control it. Okay. And second, he is much more closer to the Americans, and even the Democrats are also trying to push the Pakistanis to release something of Imran Khan will also come in the news. Okay, with this news, let's go for the question, that is, discuss how neighbors' policy of nurturing extremist groups like Taliban has contributed to regional instability and internal security challenges. It's a wonderful question. Go through it. Much has been spoken about it, and this will definitely help you. Now, moving towards the next news, Brahmaputra Dam will not affect India, Bangladesh, China. First of all, there has been, say, obviously China will say it will not be affecting. There is a recent, change in their tone. Earlier, they would have told that India should not be bothered about it. Something of this tone was being used by the Chinese. It's called wolf warrior diplomacy. It's a kind of diplomacy which the Chinese uses. And today the tone is a bit different. It is saying that we would be taking care of the lower riparian state. We would be talking with Indians. This change is stance, and also because of the multiple reasons which we have discussed, what is happening in the Chinese economy, the Trump presidency coming, the semiconductor war, the electric EV war which is happening with Europe, Chinese economy, domestic economy struggling, their real estate struggling, and with the South China boiling point, with many of the Southeast Asian countries trying to get weapons and ammunition from Europe and America. So in this entire context, China's tone has also changed. So it is saying that China defended its plan to build the world's largest dam on Brahmaputra in Tibet, and it said that it not negatively impact lower riparian states like India and Bangladesh. The dam approved for construction, it would is estimated to be much more than $137 billion. And if you remember that on Yangtze River, China has already constructed 3 gorgeous dams. That was also a huge dam. This would be even bigger than that. So when it comes to this massive construction, Chinese are very good. You have to give them the credit where credit is due. So $137 billion will be located in Himalayan region. But the problem is that this region is ecologically fragile and frequent to earthquake. And I hope that Chinese consider this when they go for this particular dam. So the foreign ministry spokesperson Mao Ning, she's continuously in the news giving, this is not the first time, whatever happens on India, US, China, Europe, she's the one giving all the external affairs most important news. So decades of in-depth sites on hydropower development have been conducted to address safety and environment. This is what is said by her, okay? This is said by her. We need to verify it has been done. It's very difficult to verify because in China, the entire state machinery, state media is controlled. Okay, so in this way, we don't know whatever China is saying. We have to believe it unless there is some intelligence reports or some satellite reports. So it said decades of depth and in studies have gone, safeguarded measures have been taken, implemented to ensure project security and environmental protection. The project will not have negative effect on lower riparian region. China will maintain, this is very new, China will maintain communication with lower through existing channels. They're talking about communication. China maintaining about communication. Basically, they take land, then they communicate that we have taken land. But today they are talking about that they'll talk about this prevention, relief, and maintain communication. Now, the dam will be built. This is from a prelims perspective. It's very important. From a fact point of view, it is built at a huge gorge in the Himalayan reaches where the Brahmaputra makes a U-turn to flow in the Arunachal Pradesh and then to Bangladesh. So from Brahmaputra, it will be taking a U-turn, entering India, and that is why the lower riparian states is India and Bangladesh. I don't know, Bangladesh, no statement has come till now. I'm not seeing Bangladesh might not even give a statement because they are already sitting in the lap of China and they definitely need money because they have around $15 billion to around $20 billion 1 week, 1 month or 2 months of forex they have. They need money, and relationship with the, India is very strained. Irrespective of this, India has still sent them rice. because they're fighting a huge food inflation. Food inflation in Bangladesh is around 11.1 to 11.5%, somewhere around there. And even in this context, when Muhammad Yunus is saying negative about India, when they're asking for Sheikh Hasina's extradition, even then India is sending rice to them. So that is how big diplomatic powers play, and how when India talks about neighborhood first policy happens. So as per this project, it will accelerate clean energy development. This also shows the focus of China moving towards clean energy and renewable energy, address climate change and hydrological disaster. The investment surpasses $170 billion, making it the largest single infrastructure project globally, dwarfing even China's Three Gorges Dam. I don't know how many of you have seen Three Gorges Dam. I'll just try to show you. It's a massive infrastructure. Okay, this is Three Gorges Dam. Just see the amount of infrastructure which has gone. It's a huge, huge dam, and it's a hydroelectric gravity dam that spans the Yangtze River. From a point of view of prelims fact, very important. I hope you are able to see the entire dam. Now, China's hydropower initiatives in Tibet. China operationalized the ZAM hydropower station in 2015. This is the largest in Tibet. See, all these projects shows the capability of China building big infrastructures. And this is also a major problem with the India-China border. Because on India-China border, the Chinese have constructed roads, and those roads, you would be surprised that many of those roads, they also have malls, they have also buildings, and even their modern villages, you know, the villages which are around the Tawang and Arunachal area. So they have started making model villages, started putting their public out there, started creating this huge infrastructure which they have created Galwan also. This shows the capability of Chinese in investing and done their research and development, and today they have reached this level. This is something which India also needs to learn from China. You know, you should always learn from your friends and much more from your enemies, and much more from your arch enemies. So in this context, we need to learn from China that how they are able to use this massive infrastructure. For example, we should also learn the information warfare which Pakistan has been able to do in the last few decades. Today we are very good, but we still should keep learning. So the new project reflects China's increasing focus on renewable energy, strategic use of Brahmaputra River, economic and geopolitical leverage. So this is the question. Discuss the potential environmental, strategic and geopolitical implication of China's Brahmaputra Dam project for India and Bangladesh. This is the question. Let's move to the next important news. So the next important news is 22% rise in enrollment after smart classroom initiative. So finally, digitization taking its space, and digitization showing its positive results. See, smart class initiative, this is also smart class, right? This is also, many of you are watching on YouTube. Many of you are actually the offline students of Insights. You can come and sit here. You can watch a lecture here also. You can use the YouTube, and you're watching lectures. You'll get the PDF in description, and your studies are going flawlessly. You are sitting in whichever corner of the earth. You just need internet to watch the lecture. This way, the overall enrollment and overall people who are watching the lecture will definitely increase. Many people cannot come offline. Many people want to watch online. That is why you today have online courses, offline courses, edtech companies, offline coaching companies, and everything. That is how education is expanding in the world. So introduction of smart classrooms under the smart cities mission has resulted in 22% increase in overall enrollment in government school between 2015-16 to 2023-2024 as per the data from 19 cities. This study was done by IIM's Bangalore, that is Indian Institute of Management Bangalore. It revealed that 71 cities have developed 9,433 smart classrooms in 2,398 government schools. And which state is leading? The state which has these, the Silicon Valley of India, it's the Bangalore. The state is Karnataka. Karnataka is leading. Currently I am in Bangalore, and if you travel in Bangalore, you will get to know from smart initiatives to digitization, it's happening everywhere out here, and hence the ripple effect on the overall state also. So Karnataka leads with 80 projects, then it is followed by Rajasthan, then Tamil Nadu and Delhi. So Karnataka, then you go to Rajasthan, the the western part of the country, then Tamil Nadu, you come back to south, then Delhi, and the worst performing state is West Bengal. So I think West Bengal needs to pick up a lot. So West Bengal, I was just reading about, that they are also thinking of creating a big Hindu temple there. It's good that you're creating a temple, but on the other side, start creating these things also. This digital infrastructure is also very important for the overall development of West Bengal. In 1966, 1967, West Bengal used to be the highest contributor to the GDP of the nation, and today it might be one of the lowest. That is the problem. Same problem with Kerala also, same problem with West Bengal. At least Kerala is very good on the social indicators, but when it comes to economy and industries, it's a very low performing state. Kerala has a very high amount of literacy and very good health infrastructure also. But at the end of the day, when it comes to industries and jobs, people from Kerala move out. Same goes for West Bengal. West Bengal is even in a much more pathetic condition because even it is low on the social indicators. So a state which used to be the intellectual hub of the country, which used to give the highest percentage of GDP in 60s, late 60s, now see what is, they're even struggling with the digital classroom. So much needs to be done in West Bengal. So teachers agreed that the smart classroom initiative has improved learning experience and attendance of students has increased. Comfort and preference of using smart classroom facilities, especially among senior secondary teachers. So they do like it. Special training for teachers have been given to confidence in leveraging smart classroom technology. Digital libraries are something which we today find very common. 41 cities have developed digital libraries with 7,809 seats. Raipur in Chhattisgarh, Tumakuru in Karnataka. These libraries give essential educational resource support student preparing for competitive exam. So these digital libraries are available specifically for preparing for UPSC, CDS, CAPF, civil services, multiple competitive examinations, SSC, CGL. These libraries are very useful. And then you have something called SWAM. I don't know how many of you heard of SWAM. So you can go to SWAM, and also SWAM is a MOOC. Okay, these are massive online courses. Most of them, these courses are free. You can go there and enroll in these courses, and your knowledge can increase whichever field you want to go. So something like SWAM also is something which you need to Google, okay, and find out about SWAM. So about the Smart Cities mission, it was launched in June 2015 by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. SCM aims to, this is a part of this only, the classrooms and everything, promote cities that provide core infrastructure, ensure a decent quality of life, environment, smart solution, overall improvement of the city. As of November 2024, 91% of the project under the Smart Cities missions have been completed. So a wonderful point, 91% have been achieved. I think in the coming years, this should also be, the remaining 9% should also be achieved. SAR initiative in 2022, the Smart City mission started with SAR, that is Smart Cities and Academia towards Action and Research, to bridge the gap between academia and government for urban innovation research. I keep harping the major problem with the Indian government, the government institutes or the schools and everything, which are not like, I'm not talking about IITs and IISCs. The major problem in these tier 2 and tier 3 schools is that, or these colleges, that research and development is not happening. Proposals, thesis, research should happen, and for that you need a good amount of funding so that research happens. And so we need to move from a risk aversion to risk taking society. Very important, risk aversion to risk taking society. And for taking risk, we need to put money in research and development. Then you would be able to create companies like Google, Meta, Apple, because the society and most importantly people out there, they were putting the money into the tech which would be making the future. And for that you need to put money for a very long period of time. You need to put money in your students at school level, at college level, and then the policies like new education policy in future will give you intended results. Okay, so under SAR, 50 impact assessment studies called Samiksha series have also been initiated. So these studies are undertaken by 29 premier institutes like IIMs and IITs and School of Planning and Architecture, just one of the topmost schools of architecture, and specialized research institutions. So let's move towards the question. The Smart Cities mission was launched in 2016, no, by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. As of November 2, 2024, 91% of the project under the SCM have been completed. Correct. SAR aims to connect academia and the government for impact assessment and studies. So 2 and 3 are correct. The answer would be B. Okay. So it was launched in 2015, not 2016. There's one more mains question. Evaluate the role of the Smart Cities mission in transforming urban education through initiatives like smart classrooms and digital libraries. Okay. And moving further, the 6th January 2025, the Conquer prelims batch is starting. For all details, you can also call on this number. And if you've not started your prelims preparation, or if you need a systematic and sustained preparation which will help you clear the prelims, you can join this Conquer prelims 2025 course starting on 6th January 2025. And you can also scan the QR code. I would recommend you call on this number for all the details. Now let's come to the next important news. So when I had taken this pick, it was around 302 per 7, and by the time I think they were around 330, 326. But anyways, the Boxing Day test match, why it is called Boxing Day? There is nothing that people boxing. So this goes back to the British history. So what used to happen is that when the Britishers used to be there, they used to give, these box of gifts to the working class or the people who used to work under them. And this used to be the 26th December. So Boxing Day test match is a name after Boxing Day, which is observed on December 26 in many countries that were part of the British Empire, and that is why this is majorly celebrated in Commonwealth countries. So Boxing Day originated as a holiday for giving gifts traditionally in boxing to the working class or those in need. So people who were working under the Britishers, who are the working class, or in the left of the center proletariat, the working class, and the bourgeois used to give them the gifts. If I take exactly the leftist stand from a capitalist point of view or from a centrist point of view, let me make it so your bosses would be giving you a gift on this 26th December, and 26th December used to be a holiday. Since it used to be a holiday and people used to get gifts, at this time these people used to go out and they used to see sports. So major sports event used to happen, and at that point of time the sports were majorly like for entertainment purposes. So that is why so people used to go and watch matches on this 26th December, and that is why this term came, Boxing Day test match. So this term is also used in South Africa, it is used, New Zealand it is used, UK, New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, you will keep hearing on 26th December whenever a match happens, it's called Boxing Day test match. Similarly, it is also can be called Boxing Day football match if a football match is also happening. So this is the story behind it. So sports, especially cricket and horse racing, became a popular form of entertainment on this day, and hence Boxing Day. Okay. So let's move to the editorial for today. So the editorial is the Syrian meltdown and its strategic impact on the regional stability around this area. So Syrian, you already know that Bashar al-Assad is out. He ran away, or he ran away like a rat, and he flew in the plane, and right now with his family he is in Russia. It is also being told that his wife is seeking divorce from Bashar al-Assad. So when things fall, things definitely fall from all around the corners. Now anyways, coming back to Syria, so Bashar al-Assad is gone. There was a group called HTS. It used to be in Idlib. So Idris to Aleppo, first it occupied Aleppo. From Aleppo it came to this Homs, Hama, and eventually Damascus. Within 10 to 12 days, 1 week or 2 weeks, they were able to occupy the major areas of Syria. And this particular group, HTS, this is this is headed by Muhammad Abu Julani. And this Abu Julani, if I talk about this Julani, this character, he used to be the former lieutenant of Baghdadi. So he used to have that kind of dress and code which militant used to. But in the recent days it has changed. If you see his last 25 to 30 days, when the battle started to get taking off Aleppo, Homs, and Hama, his dress code changed, and his dress code became something like what Zelensky was wearing, combining the civil clothes with the military clothes, like wearing a shirt and then over you wear a army jacket. And today, if you see the last 3-4 days, he's wearing a suit, he's wearing a coat pant, he's wearing shirts. This is a very different stance, and he's talking about that all the communities, all the ethnic communities are welcome in Syria. So definitely things are changing. So this is currently what is happening in Syria. Syria, which was it was silent, nothing was happening. Within some days, the rebels started. It was told the rebels, this HTS group, this was supported by the Turkey army, and with the help of them, they have been able to capture the most of the Syria. So moving into this article has been written by General Hasnain sir. Okay, so the Syrian meltdown has entered a new phase following the collapse of Bashar al-Assad regime, with groups like Hayat Tehreek-e-Sham. So this HTS is the short form, this is the full form, Hayat Tehreek-e-Shams. The situation has seen diverse reaction. Israeli strikes on the chemical weapons. So Syria had a lot of chemical weapons. So when this terror group, now it is not a terror group because the Americans are meeting them, The UK is meeting them. Even Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is talking also about meeting them. And the entire Europe wants to meet them. This person, the HTS group, Giuliani, has become the favorite. You know, there's a problem with Europe, okay? Just 8 months back, 9 months back, their favorite candy was at that point of time, the favorite candy at that point of time, or favorite person, let me put in a more legitimate way, favorite person was Zelensky. Now Zelensky is over. Nobody wants to talk to Zelensky. Now Zelensky gone, Syria has come. Syria person, Giuliani has become favorite. Once Giuliani would be over, when, they have destroyed Zelensky and the, 60-70% of Ukraine, now they're interested in Syria. That is how this West, the Americans behave. But at least Trump is not interested. He is saying that I have a non-interference policy in Syria. Do whatever you want. Trump is interested in trading and business, trade and business. So the situation has seen diverse reaction. Israeli strikes on chemical weapons. Israelis strike these chemical weapons because they wanted that these chemical weapons, which was under the Bashar al-Assad Syrian regime, so they wanted that this dictator's regime's chemical weapons do not fall with this Syrian rebels, these HTS groups, because if these chemical weapons fall under them, then they can use it against the entire boundaries or entire bordering states and even Israel. So Israel made sure once this, they were able to take down the Bashar al-Assad government, the Syrian rebels. In this time when they were trying to stabilize Syria, Israel was using their weapons, they used their air force, and they raided major areas which had these chemical weapons. So this is called, can say this is what you can call strategic decision making of Israelis. People might, counter this that Israel never had the right. Probably they never had the right, but this is what strategic decision making tends to do. So crisis has strategic implication akin to the great game. So what is a great game? So what happened? If you go back to the era of, when Britishers was rising in India, at that time even Russia was rising. So the great game happens between Britishers and India. It's around 18th and 19th century it starts. So it happens between Britishers and Russia. Russia was trying to expand in towards India. So Britishers will use Afghanistan as a buffer state to stop Russia. So this was a great game, great geopolitical game, great international relations game, great Asian regional game also, you can say, to understand it better, so that Britishers will use Afghanistan to stop Russians. So the great game was a political and diplomatic rivalry between British and Russian Empire in the 19th century. It began in 1830 when the British were concerned about Russian expansion in Central Asia. British used Afghanistan as a buffer state to protect India from Russian invasion. Now you might be wondering, sir, why are you talking about great game? We are talking about Russia. Because what you saw in great games, the thing which was happening in Britain and Russia, same thing will happen in Syria. Now the Syrian region is also called Levant region. And this Levant region is the connection between the Mediterranean and between the Persian Gulf. So that means it's the connection between Europe, Middle East, and then that road goes to India. Similarly, it was India, Afghanistan. This was being ruled by the Britishers. The Afghanistan became a buffer state to stop the Russia. Similarly, this Levant region also becomes very important. I'll show you the equation and you will understand. So this entire area is your Levant region. Okay. If you see, Syria is here, Jordan, everything, but Syria is very important. Because whoever occupies Syria, they have connection with Mediterranean, and they can also through the other state get connected to the Persian Gulf. And that is why every major power wants to have friendship with Abu Julani. And that is why this Golani guy has become very important. In wearing suit, he has become the favorite of Europeans. So this is your major area. Okay, this is the Levant region from Mediterranean Sea, and this is your Persian Gulf. And that is why, so trade point of view, if you go above, this is your Europe, and that is why most of these countries are interested in this Levant region. So from great games to Levant region, I was just trying to draw parallels so that you understand. Okay, so Levant strategic importance, geographical position. Syria lies between Mediterranean and the Persian Gulf, forming a hub for connectivity and influence. Just tell me, is Gwadar port important? Is Chabar port important? Is India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor, which we are talking, is that important? Is Chennai Vladivostok maritime corridor important? Or is, we used to talk about Tapi also. Tapi is right now not happening, maybe in future. or the north-south transport corridor, which we talk about, is that important? All these corridors, all these roads, all these areas are very important. It connects cities, it connects countries. In some might say that it connects continents also. And when connection happens, trade happens, and that is why these routes become important. Just see the importance of Suez Canal, which falls under the Egypt. Why Suez Canal is important, and how Egypt with Suez Canal can control important parts of ships passing. Just imagine the importance of Houthis controlling that western part of the Yemen and trying to attack. So geographical locations are very important. They define and they redefine international geopolitics, economics, diplomacy, and every other thing. Okay, so control dynamics. Dominating the Levant provides control over routes and ideologies, making it contested region for powers like Iran, Turkey, and Israel. Iran's strategy, currently Iran will not do much because Iran is itself struggling with their internal issues and economic issues. They will try to resolve that. So attempts to form a Shia crescent through Syria, Lebanon, Yemen have positioned the Levant as a key battleground. But Iran, currently the HTS group which has come, it is not so much pro-Iran compared to the Bashar al-Assad. But let's see what exactly HTS group in coming days will look like. So Syria's background and power dynamics. So it used to have Alawite alliance. So Alawite are also people which are in Syria, and this community was very close to Bashar al-Assad. Now this community is also saying that after coming of HTS, many protests has been started by this Alawite people. They are saying that this HTS group, they will try to kill us. Though on the other hand, HTS is saying that all the communities in Syria is a welcome, including the Alawites. Let's see what actually happens, because majority of these terror groups, they say something and they do something else, because this we have seen in Taliban in Afghanistan also. Okay, so Alawite alliance with the Iran. Post 1979 Iranian revolution, Syria allied with Iran to counter the Saudi US Sunni bloc. And I would also like to tell you that HTS is a hardcore orthodox Sunni bloc. Bashar al-Assad was a Shia. This Alawite group is also related to Shias. But HTS which is coming, this is more of a Sunni traditional bloc. So they might also make a good relationship with Saudis, because Saudi is also dominated by the Sunni community. Now civil war and ISIS. 2011 Syrian war was created chaos, displacement, humanitarian crisis. Lakhs and lakhs of people went to Europe and many other countries as refugees. Rise and fall of ISIS in 2014 to 18 to further destabilize, with Iran retaining influence through proxies like Hezbollah. So Iran was able to put the influence, control the Syria through Hezbollah and the other militant groups. These are basically part of the axis of resistance. So Iran had Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas. They were under axis of resistance group. But these three groups have been dismantled by the Israelis. Okay, I hope I said that Hezbollah belongs to Iran, not Israel. Okay, if I said that, I'll correct myself. So Iran reluctant to confront HTS military due to weakened proxies like Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been thrown north of the Litani River in Lebanon. So anyways, they hardly have any power, and they have been dismantled, butchered by Israelis like anything. Same is the case with the Hamas also in Gaza. And recently there were air attacks by the Israelis also on the Houthis base camps. So focused on avoiding direct confrontation and stabilizing internal situation and weakening influence. Overall, 2024 has been a very bad year for Iran. Very bad year for Iran. They have majorly lost their relevance in the Middle East. They still have, but majorly Iran has been butchered like anything. Then these three countries, three terror groups, Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah, they have also been dismantled by the Israelis. So Israelis has categorically dismantled these groups and taken major important people in Iran also out. They are, tata, bye-bye, good night has been done to all these major leaders of Hezbollah and other parts. Israel, concerned about the chemical weapons, they are taking care of that, conducted over 300 strikes targeting the sites to mitigate threats, that these threats do not come to Israel. Turkey and Saudi Arabia. Turkey has been said that they had a potential role in sponsoring the HTS, remains uncertain. Saudi Arabia is monitoring development, cautiously avoiding early involvement. So key concerns and strategic developments. Chemical weapons is a major concern. Refugee returns is also a major concern in Syria, because things have not still been stabilized. Iran position, despite strong links with Russia and China, Iran faces potential regime changes pressure. What will happen? And it's also being said that even the Khamenei might go. Let's see what exactly happens. And second important thing is that the regime which has come in Syria, HTS, what would be their thought process specifically to the Israelis? Though HTS in the past had done some operations with the Iran against the ISIS, but what happens in the future, we'll have to see. So in conclusion, Syrian meltdown highlights a precarious strategic environment with opportunities for power shifts is happening. The Americans are interested. Donald Trump has not gone. He has not given any statement. But under the current dispensation, the ambassador has also gone. The Europeans are interested. They are talking. They are also trying to put their bases. And please remember that Russia had a huge amount of investment in Syria in terms of bases. Now those bases are gone because Russia is more concentrating on Ukraine, and most of the Russian forces are also moving out of this place. We also need to see what would be the Chinese angle. Majorly we have not seen anything major coming from China. So preventing HTS and affiliate from turning into an extremist force, that would be one of the major agendas. Stabilizing the region, security concern, and fostering return to modicum of peace would be very important. So the question for mains is, analyze the strategic implication of the Syrian meltdown on regional stability with a focus on role of major players like HTS, Iran and Israel. This is a very good question. You can attempt it. You'll get the PDF, if not right now, in some hours. So go through it and then write the answer to this. In extra mile, you can go through this, tapping into Kazakhstan rare earth potential. It's a wonderful editorial. This came in yesterday's newspaper, not today's paper. Please go through it. It talks about the mineral resources, rare earth minerals, why it is important for India, because India is majorly importing this rare earth minerals. More than 60-70% needs from China. If tomorrow China says no, it is very important that India have alternatives. So it is very important we go through it. And there is a certain context of National Security Advisor also into this. ICANN 2.0 is going on 9:30 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday from Sapna ma'am. Please follow it. And thank you very much. I hope you did learn a lot in today's lecture. Let me just see if there are some important comments. So good morning, Sriram. Sir, how Syrian crisis impact on India? Currently, it's not a major impact on India because we are still, trying to work it out, because India is not directly connected to Syria. But yes, from a trade point of view, with Bashar al-Assad, India had a much more trade, I think, in some petrochemicals. With the new regime, India is still waiting and trying to see how the things evolve, and majorly waiting for 20th of January when Donald Trump will take the power. Right now, if some backdoor diplomacy between the HTS and India has started, I'm not aware of. It is not in the public domain. But Syria with a lot of militant and rebel groups is obviously not good for India, because then the entire West Asia destabilizes, and that relates to the problem with oil and gas and all those problems, import and export suffer. So a stable Syria is good not only for India but for the entire world. So we'll have to see exactly how this new Syria will have direct impact on India. Indirect there might be, direct we'll have to see. Sir, we have also lost one more leader, but not from India. Osamu Suzuki, who revolutionized Maruti. Yes, definitely. The Maruti has been a game changer in India. It became the first of the most important cars going through 70s and 80s, and it was the pride of middle class at that point of time. So our condolences from me and from Insights IAS for the person. And thank you very much. Jai Hind. Now we'll meet up on Monday, and on 31st we'll be doing a special session at the same time though, for a recap and everything of the important things. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind, and take care.